All right, the meeting is in order. 7276 Main Street. Why don't you describe the work it was on the
the building that used to be Kismet and Bouchon.
Yeah.
It's all one parcel. Right. They're making the landlord, the building owner, is making some
new owner himself.
I don't know if it's new owner or current owner.
Yeah.
Is making some repairs to 72, which is the retail space. It's all repair and replacement in kind. I think the reason it's referred to us is because he's replacing a door on the side of the retail space, but he's replacing it with the same door. So, because it's a door that's still made, it's like I don't even know what it is. I think it's wooden glass. Okay. Well, definitely wood because it's round. So, I thought that he was. We talked over the phone, and I thought he was saying that he was matching the side door to the front door, but it was actually just matching it to what's already there. So we are going to issue notice that it's all out of our purview.
Cool.
Okay, and I will show you the pictures that he sent along, which I think explain the situation. I gotta find my Hdrb stuff.
I do know that he said that the tenants will come in for the signage application.
How exciting! Do we know what it's going
to be? They do. I'll have to do that later. No, he said that the tenants will come in for the signage application, and he said that there are some other things that might happen as well, but not imminently. So, I mean, right now it's basically painting, patching, and like weeding around the brick walls. Right. I was like, we don't need to approve those things, although we endorse them.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't seem to find the folder.
I'll give you some space. I don't want you to feel pressured.
Well,
Hi. Hey, what's up? Oh, yeah.
no.
You need to clean up the desktop. Way too many folders on that.
Well, I've got, normally I'm looking at two screens. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's November. We're in December.
I have that on paper to you, but
Oh, good. 76 Main Street.
If I had to fill out anything for you,
I think. So that's the view.
Literal weeding and literally cleaning.
Yeah.
You're like, thank you.
And this is what he is talking about.
Not even viewable from.
It is. It's not viewable from Fair Street. It is viewable from Main Street. There's a shrub in front of it, so technically it's viewable. But it's replacement time. So.
See that property.
All right. So this question is do I have a motion that we that this is a repair rather than an action that needs to be reviewed?
Yes, I will make a motion to notify the building inspector that this application does not require our review.
I will second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Done.
Okay. Gentlemen,
Hey,
we're ready for it.
we can Here's a hard copy because one of our members here.
Oh,
in case we want to read through as we go.
Well, the printer, the light lines were a bit light, so like hard to read.
So this is got a lot of other people who have to look at it before before we're allowed to again. But I wanted to, and I told Yaslin and Eric this. I felt like we wanted you to be able to give us your total vision before the other boards give you their opinion.
No.
Just in case, also in case there's anything that we find to, that should be reconsidered. So why don't you tell us the plan?
Great. Well, first introductions. I'm James.
Top.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys would.
Yeah, we didn't know
each other. That's okay.
I'm Matt. Hey, Matt. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Good to see you all. So Matt owns the building with his brother, and they've done some renovation work to the interior where Wild currently is, and it's great. But it's time to kind of focus on the overall picture a bit more. And what we'd like to do is expand the commercial space to the right side of the building, which currently is the first floor of the residential. And that's aligned with the the village's rezoning and the comprehensive plan. And we'd like to really focus on that. We're proposing to put the covered porch on it because it solves a couple of problems. The biggest being that it makes much safer access to the building because the slope, every step coming straight on is always skewed. So treads are uneven and quite a big tripping hazard, falling hazard. So by locating them uphill or downhill, we can solve that problem. And then they're also covered, so people and treads are outside of the weather more or less. And the intent is to extend, the current storefront is, I think, quite nice looking, but in not great shape. So the plan is to recreate that and then mirror it on the other side. And then do a rear yard bump out. There is currently an extension, but that's on the east side of the building. That's in pretty poor shape, so that would need some reconstruction. But the idea is to match it on this the west side of the rear as well, and have the access to two residential units from the back. Through new exterior stairs that are in the drawings. So that's the nutshell.
I think it's a beautiful one then.
So in the extent of the extension to the rear is not going to go beyond the existing wall on the north side of it, or I guess the west east side of it.
Right, yeah, the uphill side.
The uphill side, yeah. So you're just boxing out that depth that's already there, and then adding second floors to both of them. Yes.
It's about the buildings. It's the framing of the original part is essentially identical to the framing of my own house on Furnace Street. So I actually know it quite well. It's a typology that's been created often in the village, I think, particularly in the worker housing. But when a lot of these houses had their rear additions put on, they did them very poorly, and the structural, instability ensued because they're cutting, basically timber frame structure without capturing that support. So
Right.
some of it is going to be fixing that. So that the saddle roof we're going to be fixing and things like that.
Are the bones of the structure in pretty decent condition?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, how old is this sucker?
impressive.
Yeah.
Better than it looks.
Yeah, better than it looks.
Better
Yeah.
than it looks,
Yeah. Yeah. So the intent is
That's great.
to, you know, bring some love back to it.
Yeah.
The insulating strategy, since since we have the entire structure, to insulate the entire structure to the outside, which you can see on 501. And so we're basically bringing it up to a little bit beyond code. It's not as high as passive house level. But we're doing great energy improvement to it. And the strategy is to add exterior insulation, taking down the insulation, the siding that isn't original to it anyway, and stripping off the asphalt shingle roof and adding an insulated deck on top of that, and adding kind of overhangs that are pretty minimal right now, so not really changing out honestly.
So what's there now is it wood all the way around? Is the siding wood all the way around?
Is wood on both sides.
Okay. And it'll be wood again, but it'll be new wood.
Right. And it was stripped by the Mosers back in about 2005 or 6. And that job wasn't actually completed. There's still some exposed LSB from that, I think.
Okay.
The apartment, the bedrooms will be facing the street. So what's and this is not really our, except that it will come up again, is the egress window situation. Will those double hung windows meet egress, or will you need to do?
Yeah, that they will meet egress.
They will.
As double hung.
Oh, great.
Great.
I'm pretty sure. I'll check the calculations on that.
Don't fall for the Canadian egress versus American egress.
Yeah.
Recently with somebody putting in LePage windows.
Oh, howdy. No, well taken.
My only other comment, I like the porch idea.
Where, right?
My only other comment on that is really because you want it to be commercial space on both sides, which I think would be great. It's more really I guess kind of a usability thing is for tenants that want to be really visible, being hidden behind that porch. Is there any, like something to kind of take into consideration?
Yeah, it's it's something we thought about in relation to, like, does the porch go all the way across? Other different approaches. I think that's a good question to you, Matt.
Yeah. I guess it's going to be up to get everybody's feedback and see if that's something that we want to see on that side of the road. There's similar structures up and down Main Street, or do we want an open storefront? I'm open to both ideas. I thought it was the same, pretty much very similar next door.
Right. I think the big difference, at least when I've been walking by it since I saw these, is that the Hudson Hills storefront is lower.
Yeah.
So it's so when you're walking past it, you're kind of able to look right in.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think about this with a lot of the storefronts in town, when the shops open and close and turn over, it's like, I'm always looking at it and being like, well, I think part of the reason that didn't work is because it's like people are sort of, I would go in, but I can't see, and I don't want to commit to, so it's just something for future tenants, visibility and sort of feeling open and inviting.
Yeah. What do you think the look would be, James? It's a completely different look, right?
Well, I think the daylight into the space and and overall visibility for like a mercantile or a restaurant kind of setting. At the same time, you're currently talking to a real estate person who may not need that visibility as much. Although having listings in the window is always a good thing. It could work well for kind of merchandise that gets put away each night, or outdoor seating. Anything like that could be addressed with this.
Yeah.
Too, so it could be a benefit to have that covered area, the way Hudson Hills did.
Also, I mean, it sounds like because, like you were saying with the pitch of the streets, you're gonna probably end up having to put a deck out in front of it anyway.
Right.
So it's just a question of whether it's a covered deck or an open deck,
Right,
and
right.
if you're already doing it, if you're already creating the obstacle of a deck and stairs, then how much of a difference does a roof make
Well, it's a lot of light.
in terms of emotional? That's true. It is a lot of light, but it's also facing north anyway, so it's
Even more important.
yeah.
So the light's even more important, right? Exactly.
I think another aspect to this too, which still could be addressed with an open porch, but like if Matt were to have a tenant that wants the entire space, then it really kind of opens up, the access
The usability,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's there's certainly precedent for places with porches. Obviously, there's Hudson Hills right next to it, and it's not uncommon, and even in other places around the to Rhinebeck.
I think it looks
Kingston,
great.
all
I love the
porches.
look of it. It's more, I like if you knew, if it was gonna be a restaurant, I'd be like, that sounds great because everyone wants outdoor seating.
Right.
But just knowing some shop people in town, like, and just, living here and walking the street kind of constantly and being able to see what's inside and just, I always feel like that's a big factor for people, especially in the area, whether they feel like they want to commit to like going inside a place.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only, but I think it looks beautiful the way that it's drawn as well.
Do you have any information about what the facade looked like originally? I mean, is this
I think that is the original on the front. The sides and the back are.
I suspected what's to the right is original.
Not the left.
And then
it's over here?
with the small port.
Yeah.
And what's on the so I'm pretty sure that what's on the left with the storefront area is an alteration that probably actually did a fair amount of compromise to the building. Timber frame structural
windows in.
Yeah.
Just one beyond this is, or maybe two, is that little pop-up and the bike shop, which match this side more.
One beyond the next building.
Is it the next building?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's almost like a mirror.
Oh, yeah, kind of reverse type.
Yeah. And you can actually see it a little bit, not really, sort of.
Oh, they have a little miniature. They have like a little miniature second story, right? Yeah, right there.
The way it is configured right now, is this an entry into an apartment?
Yes, currently, yes.
Okay, is the apartment the entire side?
The entire upstairs and the side.
One of the things that we've often seen is that they built residential housing using this sort of format where it's sort of split down the middle, but it's a mirror image.
Right. So potentially it could have been two-story units.
Similar to my house.
Right.
Back to the typology of the worker house.
Which actually is probably how Hudson Hill was originally designed too, because they have the staircase in the middle.
I think it's going to be an improvement to what is there right now. Certainly, there's no question about that. I guess my only comment is that I don't know. It seems like the brackets are a little gratuitous. There's really nothing on the house that kind of justifies the brackets in the column.
Doesn't Hudson Hills have them?
They do have.
You had some.
There's some reference images there.
Yeah.
176.
Yeah, that's next door to my studio.
Yeah, right.
The thing that I've kind of learned about these buildings is that usually the scroll work was added later, so like these were early 1837 was when my house was built. Like pre the scroll saw, so pre ornate, and most of them had very simple porches. As they got rebuilt. So
that's the money came in.
What's from the size.
As somebody came in to buy this girl.
And then use the light as much as you can.
I don't think that they're, I mean, without any sort of reference to what they originally looked like, I don't think that they necessarily seem inappropriate.
Well, certainly
I've taken
the
a lead in
original,
my opinion.
certainly the original.
What's there doesn't have them.
Right. And if you go around the corner, it looks like they have some canopies with, but to me, the typical style is very restrained, and it seems a little unnecessary. But I don't think it's a big item one way or another. I think it would just be simpler if it was more along the lines of what was there.
I tend to agree with that, yeah.
It looks like a lot of the kind of deviation from what we've seen around the village comes on the rear with these larger glass. Are these actual overhead doors that open on for the rear apartments? Certainly not something that we've seen elsewhere on a residential context, but I think since it's on the rear and it's on the second floor, there's the ability to be a little bit more lenient.
Is it visible from anywhere?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering what the visibility would be like, because you're talking about raising.
Okay.
You're talking about this plane going up.
Right, yeah, so that's the bump. That's kind of like a telescope through addition there. So there's a 1-story addition and then the 2-story addition, and then here's the original back of that.
So that's basically going to be mirrored, right? Or
And extended.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so really, like,
You're really kind of cutting your sight line to Furnace or Kemble quite a bit, but it is something different. Something we haven't seen. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the reality of it. And what's the railing constructions for the rear? Is it like
mesh?
Is it a metal?
Yeah, like a heavy wire, heavy gauge wire fencing.
It's kind of like the fencing that we approved next to the chapel.
That was a fence.
That was an actual fence, right? But that kind of similar.
In galvanized steel color, or in a powder coated?
No, it was powder coated. It was black, because supposedly it disappears.
It does.
It doesn't. I walk past it a lot more than you do.
I don't think it's black. It's black?
Black.
Oh, did we approve it of black?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
well, but we have no choice.
Black is better than silver.
There's no. Yeah, that's for sure. We never reviewed color, so.
Right.
Yeah, right. but that does that not fall into the materiality kind of thing?
It
doesn't make any difference. I voted against it anyway, so.
It would, yeah. Well, whether it was
not going to approve like
powder coated or uncoated, that would have to be approved. Not necessarily if it was powder coated black versus powder coated white.
Right. Sure.
Galvanized versus powder coated.
Silver versus a color, a powder coated color. Yeah. Okay.
Again, I think that is, that sort of a railing construction is not something that we've necessarily seen in a lot of other places, but it's kind of hidden in this little area. Is this side of the building?
But that's just it. Is it hidden? I mean, isn't that the view that we're looking at here?
Yeah.
Well, it is, but I think if we can visualize how much further back it's going to
be. Okay, so this is actually
that's
you're right. So it would be back there.
Yeah. And then the fences would be the railings would be that much further beyond.
Black, of course. You wouldn't be able to see that.
Powder coated black, right? Yeah.
What's the visibility like from Furnace or from Wall Street? Is there any?
You can't see it.
Yeah, okay.
So it would really be back, because you said this, you're
Right,
extending it to, so it would really kind of be back here, right? Yeah.
And what we're talking about is, this is that rear addition that's
Yeah.
going to be replaced, so that the back is actually all the way back over here.
Right.
You know, in perspective, you know, like exactly where that falls, I'd have to, you know, model it and show it, but it, like, the very rear of the building is gonna, like, at the closest point, is gonna be like still way over here.
Right.
Yeah.
And then everything else is gonna be coming off.
Why is the stair pulled away from the back?
Because we have stairs that do have a rear deck kind of entrance to the commercial spaces on the first floor.
Okay.
And then outdoor space for the tenants and then the floor.
All right, are on the first floor, both of them have entrances onto the commercial space on the first floor?
Yes.
And all the parking is on the uphill side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that makes sense that the stairs would go that way. I think it's
Exciting.
pretty straightforward.
All right, so I guess the issue more than anything else is that you guys have to go to the village board and the planning board, right? All right.
So the village board discussion is about buying the space that will be under the porch.
Right. So the current open patio and porch space.
Okay. Which obviously could have an effect on the design.
Right.
As far as the lot coverage, which I think is one of your ZBA variances, and or maybe that's also planning board, and the parking, neither of those seem to have any effect on what we would be reviewing. I mean, I think if were the apartments to shrink in a little bit, we might have to look at the overhead doors a little bit more closely, but it certainly wouldn't affect anything on the front, which I think is our primary concern. So I would say just keep us posted, and if anything changes, then we'll take a look at it again.
That's right.
But it seems to be, you know, all of the types of materials that we like to see, certainly on the front. And with lack of a real reference for how it might have looked before, other than what we can see, I think that this interpretation is not inappropriate based on other commercial buildings that we've seen around the district.
I mean, I have questions about certain things, but you know, basically, it looks like a renovation. Looks like a building that's a good candidate for a renovation.
That's nice.
I guess what's the point of the overhead? Isn't that into the residential portion of the apartment?
Yeah.
The only fun with nature out.
Right.
Will there be central air?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's
Well,
most of the time, if we're being honest, and 5 nice days we have in New York, somebody will open the door. It'll be cool.
The overhead doors, are they solid or are they glass? Glass.
It's gonna basically, I mean, it's sort of like what's at the old the apothecary, right, more or less, right? Although that's supposed to be having an entry door put in at some point.
Based on what we're looking at right now, Al, do you think that this is a project for which we would need to conduct a public hearing?
I think so. I think it's a significant change to the building.
Okay. Something to prepare yourself for as well, in terms of timing. Not that you weren't planning on starting construction before Christmas, were you? You weren't. No. And then, yeah, so then I guess just keep us posted, and we'll put you back on whenever you're ready to see us again. And if you want to wait until you're totally done with the ZBA, that's fine.
Okay.
We don't mind either way.
Because we have our first
Right.
Oh,
excellent.
seven.
No, that's Walter. That's not
Walter.
someone we're seeing.
He'll have to go with.
No, but I mean, at 7 o'clock, we have our first interview.
So it's
4.
See you around. Thanks a lot.
Have a nice holiday, and we'll see you in the new year. Sure.
If you want to just put quick comments on the record about the January scheduling before we go on to.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Our plan is to have our meeting on January 16th, Tuesday, January 16th. Pending availability of this room. Double check. Walter, do you have a question for the board?
Is this in order?
No.
Yes, the question was when the next meeting, and I'm really impressed with how quickly you approved the last group's, whatever. I hope mine goes that quickly.
Well, that was just a workshop and a discussion, so that was not the full approval process. But yeah, we'll be meeting in January 16th. Do you think you'll be ready to take a look at those windows then?
I'll have my first shot at it. I know, I'll do it until I get it right. I just want to install a window, but I want to make sure that I don't waste anybody's time.
Okay, great.
I've read it.
We will see you then in January.
Hopefully, that's the plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Karen, are these resumes?
There's 5 each in each envelope.
Okay.
Let's go to going with executive session.
All right, so do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I will move to go into executive session.
Okay, this will also mean that we turn off the recording.
Yes, after we get a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, somebody stop the recording.
All right, let me see if Trevor is here.
I think.
What's going in?
Wait, now we need to adjourn. Can I make a motion to adjourn?
We're recording.
Yes,
I'll I'll second the motion to adjourn.
Wait.
Sean motioned, I seconded.
Okay.
And I called for.
All right, so just so we have it on the record, so the vote on exiting executive session was
Me.
Sean, second, Todd, and Al.
3-0.
And this was for discussion of employment history of particular individuals only.
Yes.
And was there any action or vote taken by the board?
No.
Okay.
Now
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 9 o'clock sharp. Oh my God, we've never done that before.
Good job.